Guys, Happy Gabba here, and we're back in Explain today. Sorry for the absence. I've been doing my exams, so I haven't been posting any videos for the last month. Really sorry about that, but we should be back to normal now. I've got summer holidays, so that should leave me with loads of spare time to do some videos for you guys. Now, the first video today is just going to be for the advanced scenery tutorial guide. So if you're I'll subscribe to my channel for the helicopter stuff. I'll have some out, later this week, hopefully fairly soon. But for you guys who want to do some advanced scenery design, I have something that I want to show you. Now this is a runway on the scenery that I created a photoreal scenery for in the last video in this series. I've done a couple of things since then. When I've had the time, and one of the things I did was create a custom texture for the runway, which is the asphalt texture you see here. That's a tileable texture, and that's just placed down with a normal polygon file. But this is something that the texture can look good, and you can add these awesome things on top that I'll show you how to do in another video. But you will be haunted by the edges, because normally standard Explain you have these really sharp edges that don't blend in, don't go very well with the underlying ground, whether it's photo scenery or if it's the normal default mesh. So what I'm going to show you guys today is using a line file with a custom texture to add a blending effect onto the underlying ortho photos. So I'll quickly reload the scenery. I've got the line placed down in red. I've exported that. So if I go up here and reload the scenery, we should see that line as soon as the scenery is loaded in. So I'll quickly show you the comparison. I'll cut to when it's reloaded. And then after that, I'll show you guys how to create these. Alright, so we're in again, and we can see the edge is placed down now. This is again a line file. And you can instantly see how the texture from the line file is giving the edge a lot nicer look instead of having the default sharp edge. Now what this basically is the same texture that's been used on the polygon file has been placed as kind of layer 1, and then adding a shading effect to it. So it looks like it's kind of dipped down, the asphalt is a bit higher than the grass underneath, adding that shading. And then a texture that's a grass texture that's what's called transparent, meaning that you get kind of the colors of the underlying ortho photos, but you also get the texture and the blending effect from the grass. Alright, so I'll go into Photoshop where I've created this and show you guys how to do that. Alright, so this is what it looks like in Photoshop, and if we just zoom in we can see it's the same texture on either side. That just means you can use the line either way, it doesn't really matter. But the kind of effect is having this tileable texture, having a very transparent grass texture underneath, and then having the edge. Now you could create this edge, making it a bit more realistic in the way of maybe adding some broken parts to it, making it not so straight. That's something I'm definitely planning to do. But this is a really kind of great example of a fairly good looking but easy solution to those terrible default edges. Now you could also do this with the default texture for the taxiways. I haven't done it myself, but I imagine just going into the Explain, it should be under resources. You should have your different textures in there. You should be able to find the DDS file for it. And if you just convert that to a PNG file, you'll be able to edit it, and you can take whatever part of it you need to add this edge. So I won't go into detail of how to doing it in Photoshop, but it's pretty simple. A matter of just highlighting the texture, placing it in the middle, making sure you have it highlighted, and kind of create this dark effect around it. And and then of course just use the eraser tool to create a transparent blending effect on the grass. Alright, so we're here in the line file. This is how Explain reads it. So you want to create a txt file in your folder by right-clicking and saying create new text file. And then you want to change the extension from txt to lin. And that's for line, obviously. First three lines are always the same in the line file. You have A, you have 850, and line paint. Then we have got the texture. This just shows or tells Explain which image to use for the texture. Self-explanatory. You don't need to put a path in there. It's just going to take the image with that name in the same folder as the file. You got the text width, which is the width of the texture you created. So that's 512 pixels, of course in pixels. We got the level of detail, which is in meters, and it shows how far you're going to be able to see this line. And 2,500 is of course 2.5 kilometers, so it's fairly far. The scale just explain how wide compared to high the texture has to be. As offset, we've got the layer, which we're not touching, so we're just leaving that 0. And we've got the most left pixel, the most right pixel, and then the center of your line. So of course in Photoshop that was slightly to the right because it wasn't set directly in the middle. So this is the exact middle of the texture, not necessarily the exact middle of the file. Then we've got the layer group, just explaining which order to show the different files. So in the scenery I'll show you today, we've got this underneath the asphalt texture, which is layer group terrain +3. So this shows under the asphalt texture, but I'll show you an image here on screen where it can be useful to have the line edge on top of the texture of the asphalt texture. And then we've got the surface. Isn't very necessary, but this is just to make sure that if you get one wheel on the line, it'll still act as asphalt and not as the underlying ground. So hopefully that helps you guys out, and hopefully that explains how to make these lines and how to create a fairly good looking airport, even though you're using tileable textures and not some custom image, like some scenery developers do, which looks a lot better, but it takes so much more work, and you need to have a great talent of how to use, Photoshop and stuff like that. So I haven't really touched that much. This is a pretty good way of getting your tileable textures to look even better. I have at least one more of these series planned, which is going to be an overlay thing, but we'll get to that in that next video. I'll also make sure to have some helicopter videos out soon, so stay tuned for them. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and until the next video guys, take care.